Hello viewers, Alexi here at Right TV. I'm here to present to you a program called God's Wonders of the World. Hello viewers, Alexi here at Right TV. I'm here to present to you a program called God's Wonders of the World. Most of the time we have looked at these things and wondered how God created them in just a few days. Like most of us who are Christians have read the story in the Bible. On this program we'll be bringing you most of these great wonders here on Right TV. Right TV is on all social media platforms. Those of you who are on YouTube, the keyword is Right TV, and those of you who are on Facebook, the keyword is Right TV Uganda. Please do not forget to follow and subscribe. Alexi Rugasila once again. Enjoy the show.
You're welcome to Uganda Martrys Museum Namugongo. Enoch Rukundo is my name and I am the administrator for this place. You are at the holy site of Uganda, Namugongo, where these young people, the Uganda Martyrs, were executed way back in 1886. And at this site, 25 martyrs were killed. Of the 25, 12 were Catholics, 13 were Anglicans. It was a tight journey for these young people that we look at. When you speak about Namugongo, basically one attaches it to martyrs, but this site was existing way back in 1760. We see that the martyrs were killed in 1886, so about 120 years this place was into existence, and it was basically used as an execution center for anyone that disobeyed the king. So it was established by the 25th king of Uganda, and that was King Chavagu, way back in 1760, and it was used by very many kings, about 6 of them. We look at King Mwanga, who happened to be the 31st king of Uganda, ordering these martyrs to be killed here. So we don't even have a count of how many people were killed before the martyrs, but we remember these 25, these young people who were tortured because of disobeying the king by embracing the Christian faith. So this is a unique place. People who come with faith go with a special blessing. The journey wasn't easy, what these martyrs went through, and it's what we look at to learn a lot. Basically, the martyrs, the journey all started from Munyonyo, and it's 15 kilometers from here, because that is where the palace of King Mwanga used to be. And these 26 martyrs actually were working within the palace, and we have Charles Lwanga killed on his way to this final destination. Their journey wasn't easy. After these young people embracing Christianity, we see them being brought to this place, walking but being subjected to torture. So many of them actually failed to walk. So what the soldiers had to do, they thought these people were big-headed, they just had to tie up their legs and drag them on their back. So the back, in our local language, in Uganda Swahili, is mugongo. So when people were brought here with the flesh off, the blood flowing, one wondered, how have these people reached here? Bano bazze batya in Uganda. Then they replied, they have come on their backs. Bazze namugongo, batuse namugongo. So that's where the name Namugongo comes from, and itself it depicts the painful way these people were tortured. But to give you an insight, how people used to worship before, you know what prompted the king to get angry and order these people to be killed? Because in Uganda we said the king ordered, it is the chief executor that we're going to look at who did the actual work of killing. People used to worship small gods. Before Christianity in Uganda, people used to embrace those small gods they called arubales, about 70 of them. Each problem was attached to a particular god. So you found there was a god of rain, god of healing. Those ones who wanted protection, there was a small god. There's a small god called Nende to protect the boundaries of Uganda. So that's how people used to worship. And the king was looked at as a supreme god. Now, disobeying such a person, one deserved to die, and Namugongo was a special site gazetted for that role. So we see missionaries being invited by King Mutesa I, who was the 30th king of Uganda, who wrote a letter to the Queen of England. By then it was Queen Victoria, and then finally the missionaries arrived. He welcomed them well, then they started doing a lot of work. They did a lot of work, including preaching the gospel. But the king didn't live long. When he died, his son took over. That was King Mwanga. So King Mwanga did not like the coming of these people because they made his own people to become disobedient. They stopped to make sacrifices, even the way they used to pray. The Lord's Prayer, thy kingdom come. So the king felt it's another kingdom taking over Uganda, so he needed to protect his throne. So anybody that was a threat to the kingdom of Uganda, this is the special site gazetted for that. So these, he orders them to be killed. Anyone that was preaching the gospel and anyone that had converted. That's how people came from the old tradition. He embraced the new Christian faith, and King Mwanga decides to order. So we find these martyrs marked the end of killings of people in Namugongo. After the death of these people, Christianity spread so much that now you can be able to come and visit. But Namugongo, when someone was brought here, it was a death sentence. One deserved to die. So martyrs was treated in a special way. Unlike other people who disobeyed the king in one way or the other, martyrs were treated in a special way. When they were brought here on their backs, the word Namugongo, they were in the hands of the chief executor we call Mukajanga. So when someone reaches Namugongo, they have to see Mukajanga. Someone out there wants to know where exactly were these people tortured from? Where exactly were they burned? So that's what we have redeveloped. We have put sculptures in the exact places, exact sites, so that we can depict the story of what happened. So Mukajanga was the chief executor stationed here, waiting for people to be brought, and he determined how someone died. So Mukajanga's role wasn't easy, especially for these martyrs, because among them there's Mbaga Tuzinde, who was a nephew to Mukajanga. So he had a hard time to see that these people are tortured. They spent an entire week in this place being tortured like the way you're seeing in different ways. But probably they would feel a lot of pain, be inflicted a lot of pain, and they denounced the faith. But these young people were united, regardless of whether you're Catholic or Anglican, they were one in faith, and they stood till the end. So when one reaches Namugongo, you would see where Mukajanga used to stay. So that's what we have done. We have molded a grass-thatched house in the exact position where Mukajanga used to stay, waiting for people to be brought. Definitely was not alone. He had these soldiers, the royal soldiers, we call Vamboas in Uganda, who used to guard him and those that helped in the process of killing. So when one comes, he goes straight and sees where Mukajanga used to stay, and then you see how these people used to prepare themselves, the Vamboas. They used to sharpen the pangas, the tools, killing tools, but using the stones. So they did the local way of preparing themselves. Then we show you how people were brought to this place and how the name Namugongo comes about. Once these matters were brought here, they were put in a prison cage. So you put that in the alert Mukajanga, there are people waiting to be killed. And you have to be keen and see how these people were tied. Get to timber logs, the legs are passed in between, those two are tied, your hands are held. You couldn't even escape because Namugongo was a hidden place within a forest, very dangerous in that even people could just see but they couldn't follow. For example, we have the torture tree, where these martyrs were exactly tortured and where most of them actually died from. The torture tree that in Uganda we call Ndazabazadde. Ndazabazadde zirabye. Abakyala baalumwa nga bazaala, but it was much more painful to see their sons being taken to be killed. So that's where the one Ndazabazadde comes from. They could see their sons, but they would reflect on the labor pains they felt in the giving birth. But it was much more painful to see their son being dragged, to be chopped into pieces like you see on this torture tree. So basically, this is the exact tree where these people were tied and cut into pieces. They remove your arms, they remove your legs, they pierce in the back. We even see some of these martyrs who are castrated. So it was that, different ways of torture on the orders of Mukajanga so that they can be able to denounce their faith. That was all they needed to do, but they were strong in faith and many of them died on this tree called Ndazabazadde. But the king was aware, he was advised, Kabaka Mwanga was an 18-year-old, who was advised, these people are believing in Christ who died and resurrected. So even when you're dead, they had to burn them up so they don't come back to life like the Christ they believed in. So that's why the 3rd of June, the last day, these people were wrapped in the reeds because the reeds catch fire and were stationed on this place. And that is where exactly these young people were tied. You can even see how these people were tied. The legs are in the middle, the heads towards the end. So that when they set fire from the center, you feel it burning you up. If you're still having some life in you from the feet going upwards. So 3rd June is actually the last day they burnt up these people. Most were dead from what happened from the torture tree, but a few were still alive. And instead of lamenting in pain, it was touching. These people were actually singing songs of encouragement, Christian songs of victory. And that's what touched Mukajanga, in that after the killing of these people, he was moved. He went back to the palace when he heard the king was exiled to Sheshu's island, Kabaka Mwanga, and his friend King Kabalega, when they were exiled, the normal orders, and the one who took over was a 1-year-old baby, King Daudi Chwa. So killings ended. Mukajanga left this place. He went back to the palace, said he had killed very many people, but these matters were unique. They never fought. They were willing to die for their faith. So which God were they believing in? And in the process, Mukajanga turned to Christianity. So we find Christianity growing so fast after the death of these martyrs. Yet the king was just threatening these few people that let him kill these few so that others cannot join the Christian faith, but instead it is the birth. So we tell the blood of the martyrs is a seed of Christianity in Uganda. We are at a site where Christianity started from in Uganda. And as we speak, Uganda is 70% a Christian country, but it all started from here these young people, youngest was St. Kizito, the 14-year-old, willing to go through this entire process of torture. And these were young people with dreams, missions, and achievements ahead, but they forewent all that. They decided to give their lives for their faith. So we implore people to come to see this site and for them to be witnesses of Christ. They sowed the seed. What have we done to see that the gospel is spread more? So this is exactly what these young people were burnt. We have to see Mukajanga giving command and action of whatever was taking place. Someone putting in firewood, someone piercing his fellow human being so that he settles into fire. So this is the exact spot where 12 Catholics and 13 Anglicans were wrapped together and set on fire. Then on our ceiling, we show the angels receiving the souls of these faithful young people. So we believe the heavens opened and the angels received the souls, taking them to heaven. So a lot has been done into this place. This is the dream of the late Archbishop Dr. Livingstone Palanikoyoyo when God spoke to him in 2013 and work started in 2014, the October 4th, when His Excellency laid the foundation of this structure, and a lot has been taking place. We had the privilege to even host Pope Francis when he came here on the 28th of November 2015. He was into this site and he was moved because he even knelt on the torture tree and prayed for these martyrs to intercede for us. So he's not the only Pope that has been here. We have Pope Paul VI that came in 1969, Pope John Paul II in 1993, and then Pope Francis, who found this museum up. So Uganda has had a privilege to host 3 popes, and it's a country that has hosted the highest number in Africa. So we are the pearl of Africa, Uganda, and it is a blessing to have His Holiness to come and check on this site to see. And these matters, the death of these people is no longer Ugandan impact. It's beyond, it's international, because we have schools built in Nigeria in the names of St. Charles Lwanga. So we see that the death of these people had the impact that's beyond. As we speak, these are now international matters, and it's a unique site. Seeing a group of people being killed same day, same place because of having their faith. So we had the Pope come here in 2015, and we have worked a lot to see that the dream of the late Archbishop Nkoyoyo, the vision bearer, is coming into achievement. So this is the core site where we are, where basically we have the sites of execution, and we shall also have to look at the church, the first church in Namugongo, built in 1935 way back, where the remains of these martyrs were laid. After being burnt here, the ash and the bones of these faithful young people were laid in the chapel, the first chapel in Namugongo, where people come and see. And we also have holy water, because after killings, these soldiers called the Vambo used to slope down there. Basically, there's a spring well, natural water that follows every other day, even up to now. So they used to go and take their killing tools, they wash them in preparations for another shift of killing, they cleanse themselves, and then the blood flows off to remove blame from themselves. So because people come here with faith, they believe these are holy matters, and the blood of these people was washed in that water. That is holy water. So people come from different countries, Kenya, Tanzania, and others, to collect that water. They come with faith, basically, to tap it. So a lot is taking place. As you can see, this site, we have done it in a way to make it look ancient. It is a new report, but basically to depict a picture of what happened. When you look at the windows, those are flames of fire. When you look at the pillars, there are 49, which are representing the 49 martyrs in Uganda. But 25 majority killed here, but there are martyrs in other places that have also been developed. But since this is a museum for Uganda martyrs, we remember them because this is one of the main sites for the martyr celebration. So a lot has taken place, a lot has been done within, especially also on the interior walls. When you look at the art, basically to reflect the journey before Christianity, how people used to worship, the coming of the missionaries, and then finally these sculptures show you what happened here. A lot has taken place. We implore people to come and tour Uganda Martrys Museum, Namugongo.
Nkumi 2019 nagenda nachebeza mbasherekere ntakwenda ngo bakimanye kubagiye kureta results bazireta nimangira ngo ndi positive.
Enju ya mukama yekare enju ya mukama yabaire yombekeye mukama nguluhara la mizibwaga akombekamu ebikalo bali balalimisa sitana.
Kugumisiriza mu bishweri rero nshome Bible yanje yija akagira ngo ibintu biramacinga njire ubundi ntibiramacinga bya bitaramacinga ninga ntibiramacinga kusha nyino buteka.